Hi Virgo, it's Veroosh. Welcome to my channel. This is your weekly for Virgo Sun, Moon, and Rising for the period of July 11th. And I'm extending it for you until the 22nd because we're putting this out late. The reason it's out late is because I decided to do these readings late. It was a last minute thing. As you guys know, I don't do weeklies regularly, and so I'm doing it to help the signs navigate these energies, because I feel like this week is a big, wonderful week. But I think that there's some changes that you guys need to be aware of. And overall, I want to help you guys focus on this energy. So I believe it's one of the most powerful weeks of the year in terms of goal setting, manifestation. And so I want to share that with you. Now listen, because I'm filming this late, there's added information in here. So I'm going to go slow because it seems that the explanation of this works better when I go slow. And I figured this out because my last two readings for Sag and Libra turned out to be 43 minutes, which is way overkill for many of you. So if you guys want to try, just go down to the player here that's showing this whole video and click on the speed and make it go twice as fast. See how you like it, because the way that I speak when I do this, I don't think it's going to be too fast for you. So if you are in a hurry, then watch it double and then you'll get through it. This reminds me to my last comment, and I don't know if it's you guys specifically, I should say it to the collective, but I've noticed that when I post videos, it seems that people are jumping in to like the video and comment and leaving really fast. That's actually bad for your account and for the channel. So it gives like a short watch time and your account gets flagged as spam. So it's kind that you're trying to help me, but unless you're watching the video, don't like and don't jump in and out because it will flag your account and you don't want that. Okay? So this week is a big week for Virgos. I'm excited to tell you the astrology, but let me show you the Lenormand first. And this is how this got long, was because I added Lenormand astrology and tarot and thought that was a good idea for a 15-minute reading. Okay, so Virgos, I'm nervous. Let's see what's going on. We have paths, first time it came up. Look, first steps to greatness. That's what I called the video. What do we get? Paths. Veroosh, you're on like Donkey Kong. Okay, let's see. Then we have the garden. Okay. Certain choices were made, certain directions were made. Now you're sort of dealing with the different opportunities in front of you. We have the fox. A fox is making a very clear decision about what they want to do. But foxes are sort of careful, right? They sort of scurry away when they're around other beings. They're not too trusting of situations. This could be you in the center. What is it? The skeptic? Yeah? Not convinced? There was this Olympics moment where the athlete made a face. I don't think she intended it, but it was a meme, not convinced, and it's like my favorite energy. So it has that frequency of not convinced. And then we have mice. Okay. Wow, Virgo. Okay. So on the bottom is transformation. So you're in a cycle of transformation. I didn't mean to look at it, but since I did, we'll go with that. So I feel as though you're on a path. First of all, the first comment is that you may be looking back at the path and wondering where the hole in your decision was. Like, where did you make a mistake? But it shows that you haven't made a mistake here, that you're choosing or have been choosing from wonderful frequencies. In front of you is where you need to be paying attention. You have mountains and the mice. You're up against intense frequencies at this time. You're up against competition, shall I say. You're up against some kinds of frequencies. The mice are industrious, but they're a pest, right? Ask anyone in Australia. They're a pest, and they're inquisitive, and it's almost like that video in the movie, the Disney movie Fantasia, where he splits the brooms to kind of stop them, but then they double up, double up, double up. That's the mice frequency. And by the way, that's an old Egyptian spell. Somebody was asking me about Egypt. That part in Fantasia with the brooms is like an ancient Egyptian magic spell. It's really interesting that they use that. Anyway, interesting point. But it seems as though the fox, wise fox Virgo, very smart. But I think for some reason you're paying attention, trying to find the hole in your logic in the past, whereas in front of you is the challenge. In front of you is the big obstacles that you have to face. The obstacles that I feel is that a lot of effort needs to be put into your life to achieve the path you have chosen. And the second one is that you're going into an environment in which, once again, people will be looking over your shoulder and, trying to interlocers sort of push themselves into your situations. So wherever we shine, that's where we have conflict, right? Because people of a lesser capacity oftentimes try to cover that up by sponging off of others in one way or another. So Foxy Virgo, look forward instead of in the past. That's what it's saying. And may I highlight our title today, boys and girls, First Steps to Greatness. So this is based on the astrology, and I think that when you're looking at these mountains and mice, don't be too afraid of what's coming. This is you're pushing forward towards a outcome. You're pushing forward towards greatness, and that takes work. So I don't think it's a bad frequency at all. So I'll show you why I'm doing this video. This video was just the last minute video that I decided to do based on I think the astrology of this week and next week needs to be talked about in detail. I talked about these transits in our weekly. It's in the corner in the cards. And I also talked about it in your love reading for the rest of the year. That's on your playlist in the cards and in the description. So go watch that. So there's 3 transits that are very important this week. One already happened, so let's start there. Now don't worry, you didn't miss anything. Essentially what you need to be aware of is bring back your awareness to Monday and Tuesday and see what kind of experiences you had to understand and connect with this message. So what's happening is that Mars and Venus are joining in Leo, very close to your sign, so it's right on your ascendant. On Monday, the moon was in this position as well, so it was a stellium in Leo, very powerful, very rare, probably once in a lifetime event. And so for you, something had begun behind the scenes. So it's not clear to you, it might be not clear to everyone, but there's a pattern that had begun for you to do with love, and I think for you to do with passion, things that you feel passionate about, Virgo. There was a catalyst, and this energy had instigated and began. Now Venus and Mars are going to go back and forth between each other. There's going to be 2 more conjunctions in the next 7 months. There's going to be one in Capricorn and one in Aquarius in March 2022. I think that right at this time, you are bringing into your awareness from the subconscious, the 12th house, some point of some idea that has to do with what you must do to create something. Your individual creative process is been activated, and so you are going to bring something and make something real over this period of time. Compared to the other signs, your transit is starting immediately. So I was just doing Libra's video, and I was like, you can wait a minute with your decisions. With Virgo, I don't think so. I think that you're meant to start as soon as possible. If you're a Virgo Libra, figure out which one's stronger. But anyway, when Venus enters into Virgo, followed by Mars very soon, that will activate your energy. So whatever is going on for you on a personal level, whatever you feel called to, whatever you feel passionate about, the next 6 months or so are meant to be a lot of your effort towards bringing this concept or idea into life. So whatever you've instigated, there's something that got under your skin, an idea or something that you feel passionate about that you're meant to cultivate. And then harvest season is in March. To add to this, Jupiter is in Pisces, which is your 7th house of partnership. So relationship issues will be really important for you when Jupiter is in Pisces. But it's retrograde, and on July 28th, it's moving back into Aquarius for a period of time. And so Aquarius is your 6th house, which is your house of productivity. And so as Jupiter enters into your 6th house, in terms of timing of this idea, I can see you being extremely busy until December in cultivating whatever is coming up for you at this time. Now with these frequencies, we can choose to ignore them. But like I said, the moon with Mars and Venus is a very rare transit. So it's not that you'll get this kind of frequency again anytime soon. So I encourage you to, whatever is brewing in that brilliant little head of yours, that you're going to cultivate that. Okay? So, and then when Jupiter enters into Pisces again in December, the focus will be more on love. Whereas right now, your focus has been sort of relationship-oriented, lovey-dovey. But now you're refocusing on goals for the win, you know? And so feeling bad about relationships or preoccupying yourself with relationships at this time, it's not only a detriment to a relationship that's not in flow, which means that the energy is not working with you towards that, but also it's taking away from the opportunity that you have in your life for the next 4 months and the energy that you're meant to put in to those things. So it's something that you're going to make. It's something to do with very practical, very hands-on. And the other message that's very important is that it's starting now for you. The second transit that's happening tomorrow on the 15th, that's actually with us all of July, but the high point of it is tomorrow. The North Node with Aldebaran will be exact tomorrow on July 15th. So the North Node with Aldebaran has to do with focus of determination and knowing which way to go. It's in your 10th house of career. So your sparks are flying in your head with regard to which direction you're meant to go with your life. It's up to you to take that inspiration, take that knowledge, and apply it. If you don't apply it, if you don't use it, you lose it, right? So use this energy now, particularly tomorrow. Be self-aware. Don't deny this energy, and don't distract it. I feel like many Virgos want to pay attention so this could be now I'm seeing the Lenormand reading, like I was looking to understand it. Isn't it true that like you had some kind of romantic encounter, maybe a set of experiences that were romantic in nature, and you keep paying attention to it, Miss Fox or Mr. Fox, but ahead of you is the hard work. But the hard work is going to be for success. So don't waste your time looking in the wrong direction, Virgo. That's a huge message, and I see that very clearly now. Pedal to the metal, head down, work hard. It will lead to greatness for you. And especially when the second conjunction happens, the third conjunction. This is the first one, the second one's in Capricorn, and the third one is in Aquarius. So you're getting a lot of love messages also that love will come back around when Jupiter enters into Pisces in December. But for now, chill. chill, be chilling like a villain, and get your work done and be quiet about it, because there could be potential people who are, mice energy. The uncontrollable frequency of imposition. So you have some awesome transits with regard to that. The third set of transits this week have a lot to do with relationships. So you are getting a little bit triggered on the emotional level. And we all are. This energy began when Mercury entered into Cancer and began creating a trine to Jupiter in your 7th house. Powerful communication between friends. What you say reaches the right ears. And so there's this sort of romantic, emotionally triggering communication, and you can't help it. You just run into the right person, say the right thing at the right time. If you've been watching my videos, I'm a Virgo, have been particularly witty. Just kidding. So it's just a joke, but the point is that Jupiter and Mercury is this kind of wonderful connection here that brings the proper attention through your networks to your partners and through to people who you're aligned with. Second trine that's happening is Neptune with the Sun. This is really beginning on the 15th. That's when Chiron goes retrograde. Remember, I was telling you, I forgot to tell you about Chiron. I'll tell you about that in a minute. On the same day as Chiron goes retrograde and North Node is conjunct Aldebaran. But Neptune is trining the Sun. And so we have this double trine transit that's happening at this time. And for you, this is happening in your 11th house of social networks and friendships and 7th house of partnership. So romance is like around. It's everywhere. The possibility of love, a cute look, suggestive comments, all of these things. And the moon will be in Scorpio on the 17th and 18th into the 19th in your 3rd house. And so communications can happen. Things can get pushed along. People are sympathetic. There could be gossip about people's feelings towards each other. So networks can pass around positive gossip about interest, all those sorts of things. And you're very open towards your friends and partners at this time. This energy is increasing throughout the week of the 12th through the 17th. And so that will culminate in this grand trine energy with the moon in Scorpio at the beginning of Scorpio, and then on the 19th, completing the grand trine with the Sun and Neptune at the end of Scorpio. So very open-heartedness, very open to your networks. But again, be very wary, because once this transit is over, if you're too open or naive or paying attention to the wrong thing, then it's possible that amid your networks there's mice, So be wary of that. So I wanted to mention Chiron before we move along. This is probably most important with regard to the North Node. However, it's also sextiling Saturn, which is beautiful. So there's a really nice splatter chart example here. A splatter chart means that there's transits in every single placement. But a sextile between Chiron and the North Node for you is important at this time, because Chiron's it looks like a key, but in this case it really is a key. So Chiron is going retrograde on the 15th. What does that mean? Chiron is in Aries in your 8th house. Virgo, at this time through this Chiron regular transit, you are prone to think how endings and have shaped your life, especially if those endings were not fortuitous, such as, I don't know, all sorts of changes in your life, how they affected your life in a negative way, right? How they kept you from being you. How, perfection. Oh, there's the perfectionism. How it was not perfect and therefore you paid the price. When Chiron goes retrograde, we get a break from that energy. So you'll feel less inclined to feel self-conscious about how you find yourself in the here and now. And so on the 15th, when this happens, the pressure removes itself from your life, and it sextiles the North Node with that awareness point with Aldebaran. And so it gives you opportunity to be more bold in your career and your public life, and less self-conscious, about things ending, less self-conscious about things holding you back. So good energy, Virgo, opening up energy. So now I'm going to talk about the less favorable transits. If you're triggered by that kind of conversation, jump to the tarot in just a few minutes. But yeah, I'm just going to go through the transits that are more challenging. The problem is that the week of the 11th through the 17th is a continual increase and expansion of positive energy. We have grand trines in water. We have North Node with Aldebaran, Chiron going retrograde. There's a lot of heart-opening frequency. Trust is on a high. Understanding is on a high. There's just improvements in all areas of our life, including for you, Virgo. And so you feel like it's very likely that many of us have our defenses down at this time. We feel more trusting. Things are more copacetic. Okay? This does not change on the 17th and 18th because the grand trine frequencies with the moon in Scorpio continue. So we'll continue to feel, as Virgos, we'll feel very open to people around us and our partners. It's a great time to talk about relationship things with your partners. It's a great time to connect with friends. However, there's two frequencies next weekend, 17th and 18th, that you want to be aware of. So first, let's talk about Lilith. Lilith has been in Taurus in your 9th house for the past 10 months. And on the 18th, she moves into Gemini in your 10th house of career. This is going to be an intense transit no matter where it is, but it's less intense than it's been for several years because there's no transits alongside Lilith. There's no Saturn, there's no Jupiter. There's a little bit to do with the North Node. We'll get to that. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But it's comparably much less intense, and moving forward for the next several years, it will continue to be less pressure filled. So this is good news. That's why Lilith is not on my chart anymore. And I want to add that there's a lot of hype on the internet about Lilith as a transit. It's a transit that's hyped up because it's mysterious and it's sort of edgy, and so people like to talk about it. However, in astrology, it's not the most important transit. So when we talk about it, I don't want a bunch of you feeling worried that this is now in your 10th house and what's going to happen. It will affect your life. That's why I'm talking to you about it. But it's not going to be detrimental like another big planet or something like that. It's way hyped up, and it's hyped up for marketing purposes. And it's just not something you need to worry about to that extent, because I get a lot of anxious emails and comments. So don't be worried. That's why I'm taking it out of my wheel. Anyway, for now. But Lilith will be in your 10th house. Be careful of conflict at work. Bottom line. Don't get into it with people at work. Just stay out of this energy. Lilith will be in Gemini from the 18th of July until April 2022. So 10 months from now. We all have Lilith somewhere. You can handle it. Like I said, it's much less problematic in this position than it was in Taurus, where Uranus is. So you're good. So that transit will come into conflict with our openness, because suddenly we have to watch our back. I call Lilith and Gemini the snake tongue energy. So someone who says horrible things without thinking about it. So with that openness, it might be a conflict. So be open but aware. The other transit this weekend that comes into conflict with our openness is the Pluto opposition to the sun, right? And so that will be exact on the 17th, right when our grand water trine is happening between Jupiter, Mercury, and the moon. And so on the one hand, we're open to people and everything's great. On the other hand, there's something to do with our passions, our personal desires that are overshadowing our relationships to other people, Virgo. And I say our because I'm a Virgo too, and I think that this is good feedback. Please take it as such. And so maybe it's time to take a look, Virgo, at seeing how your desire to fulfill your own passions and desires in some way conflicts with your harmony with the people around you. So I'm not saying you're selfish, right? We all are selfish to a certain degree. But this transit will work very well for you when you bring attention to what your friends' needs are, what your community's needs are, and address them. Because when the sun forces an opposition to Pluto, the more intense we are in terms of suppressing the needs of others, right? Sun in the 11th house, the greater the pushback will be. So be wary of this. And likewise, if your needs towards being with your friends are suppressed for whatever reason, because you feel determination here with Pluto towards achieving certain things, you may experience a big pushback with that energy also. So like just rebellion energy with the sun against Pluto, trying to take some of the power that Pluto is harping down on in the 5th house. And the sun, as it transits in across it, will say, no, 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 we need more attention here in the house of friends. So put some attention towards your friends and you'll be fine. I want to mention also that I'm filming when the moon is in Virgo. The moon will be in Virgo until the 15th in the morning. So 13th, 14th, and 15th, the beginning of the 15th. We have moon in Virgo. That's a favorable transit for Virgos. Okay? So the last point is about next week, the 19th through the 22nd. So we have this open-hearted energy this week, the 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, expansion of love, self-confidence, determination with the 10th house north node. And then what happens is next week we come up against opposition. Suddenly things are not as idyllic. So let's clarify a bit more. The energy as it is right now, it's very much you choose exactly what you want. What do you want in your life to be great? Next week, from the 19th through the 22nd, you're facing Venus opposite Pluto for the first time. And so that's in your 7th house still. And Mercury is squaring Chiron in your 8th house, and Mercury is in your 11th house. Things you can't talk about around certain people, touchy subjects. And so the environment becomes more touchy, more restrictive. So this week's environment is very open. You choose what you want and you'll go in that direction without any obstacles. Next week, you're up against challenges and difficulties and consequences. And so you want to make sure that you don't get discouraged by next week's transit, because you're still going to greatness, first steps to greatness. So be patient with that. Don't get discouraged when on the 17th the sun opposes Pluto and our taste of opposition shows up, our taste of, things not being picture perfect come up. That things come up that we have to address, and with Lilith and Gemini. So just don't get discouraged by those energies, okay? All right, so let's see if I can focus on one house of the we have the 3rd house as being very important. That's where the moon will be. That's where the moon will be on this weekend. So again, speaking with your heart towards people that you care about will be very important this weekend, despite the fact that there are energies out there that are predatory and that make you feel like you want to clam up. So tell the people that you care about in your networks and friend groups how you feel about them. Keep your heart open. Keep communicating the positive energy. And know that the big picture is steps to greatness. You're initiating with this Venus and Mars conjunction, steps towards greatness that will take about 6 months to develop. And they start right now. But the following week is a little bit of a crapshoot, but nothing terrible. So why don't we take a look at the tarot and see what kind of energies we have for you, Virgo, for this week and a half, right before the full moon in Aquarius. That's a cool full moon. It's 1 degree Aquarius, just barely Aquarian full moon. Okay, so here are your messages. We have the 6 of Pentacles, moon in Taurus, Aries, big news, Virgo, money and business, work, and the 3 of Swords, Virgo. What is this 3? So I have a feeling that there's a lot of indication here, Virgo, that you need to be very wary of your professional environment at this time. You're going for greatness. There's a lot of ample opportunity for you. There's a lot of growth. But there's the mice and the 3 of Swords. Just tell me that in some way there's a harping energy. There's an energy harping down on you. But don't let that overshadow your greatness. Don't let that overshadow your path, because it's so much bigger than these little incidences of frustration. And I think that this refers to the 17th, the 18th, and so forth. And if you're wondering when it's going to go back to like a better frequency, let's see. I think that you're looking at the latest the 29th, but almost immediately next week there'll be an improvement. Venus enters into Virgo very soon. I think she enters on the 20th or the 21st. And so when she does that, that will be like an immediate. So whatever comes up for you in your environment, don't allow it to prevent you from feeling very discouraged from the bigger picture. This can also feel as though there's if you're in a relationship between you and your partner, that your partner's hurtful in some way towards you, that there's material fairness, but then maybe in some way not so much with the 3 of Swords, that this person is capable of financial generosity, but in some way they're being harsh to you, or you've experienced some kind of sadness. It feels like they have so much to give, this person, this Emperor person, but then in this 3 of Swords, it tells me that it's vacuous, that there's an emptiness there. You know, that the capacity is there, but for whatever reason, the 3 of Swords, it's just there's a disconnect. There's a lack of connection. There's a lack of follow through. Okay? And so be wary of like hurtful moments to discourage you. Don't let them tarnish your vision, because your vision is where you are going. Your greatness, or sorry to repeat myself with this first steps to greatness, but I really see that you're going in a good direction. In the immediate moment, there could be some kind of a temporary interjection of naysayers or haters, right? Don't heed at any frequency. Then we have the 9 of Pentacles. Here, I'll add something else. So when we're looking at this, Venus opposite Jupiter, right? This will happen right on the cusp of your ascendant. Venus will enter into Virgo and create an opposition to Jupiter on the 21st of July. And so relationships, partnership dynamics with your partner may sour suddenly, unexpectedly, especially if for some of you may have been having a really good time in terms of relationships, and then suddenly you are sort of blindsided by their lack of sincerity or caring. But I don't think that's the ultimate outcome of this. I think that it'll turn out to be some kind of a misunderstanding or a miscommunication or something that has a legitimate excuse or reason behind it. The energy for love for Virgo is now going to pull away. So love has been intense for Virgo, but when Jupiter enters into Aquarius, the focus once again turns to your goals and your dreams. And so if you've been involved with someone, their frequency may change towards you, and that might be the hurtful part, where suddenly it's not as hot as it was before. But it's going to come back. Remember, the bigger picture is that Jupiter's going back into Pisces in December, and you're meant to focus on money, which you're doing right here really well. Okay, so we have the Two of Wands, okay? Perspective and vision. Remember, the fox was looking over here, doubts. And then we have the Queen of Wands, Sag, Leo, or Aries. Secondary transits in water, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. I think this is the person you need to watch out for. This is the person who's waiting for you to have a down day, to feel sad, just to kind of rub it in. I just feel like maybe this is the person who's in some way, you're paying attention like the fox in this direction. Watch to the beginning of the video of the Lenormand reading if you don't know what I'm talking about. You're paying attention to what all this wealth and good things that were happening, and you're not paying attention to the obstacle, right? So there's an obstacle there. And she could be coming at you with a broken heart, which means that she could have a bone to pick with you over something. And you may not hear about it until she says something, or this Three of Swords to me, this is like somebody who's holding something against you and not saying it, and then suddenly it comes through. Then we have the Four of Wands. It'll work out, definitely. But be wary, the Queen of Wands can have a lash out frequency. Seven of Swords, Moon in Aquarius. And then we have the Four. Yeah, it will definitely work out with this person. But I think for a time, it's going to be like a hot moment where in some way this person gets upset with you, or they're upset about something. The Three of Swords. They're upset about something. And I think you're not paying attention to the fact that they're upset. But I think that you'll work it out. I think you'll avoid the issue. On the bottom is the Six of Swords. Moving on, the bigger picture is that you're going in a new direction, Virgo. This new direction has to do with the North Node, but it's going to take 7 months for you. I was going to say 6, but 7 till March of 2022 to fully evolve. And I think you're preoccupied. Maybe this is a friend whose feelings you're hurting in some way. And so be wary of paying attention to the wrong direction, because that can be problematic as well. So somebody's feelings who you've hurt by paying attention in the wrong direction can have negative consequences, or I feel like an outburst energy if you're not careful. So don't be callous, Virgo. And I'm a Virgo. I'm not giving you crap, but I'm saying be very wary of her energy. And I feel like there's a frequency here that's very strong, which reminds me of the astrology a lot, in which you're perpetually working, Virgo, towards your goals of happy home and happy family. And you're not going to be spending a lot of time on rest at this time. This is going to be a very, very busy time. You're looking to rest, like, oh, it would be nice if I only could. But you're perpetually choosing, a lot of effort towards money. So I think what this is saying is that you have a busy life, and I'm tying it into the Lenormand at the beginning. You have a very busy life coming up for you for the next 6 months that's initiating this week. And I think that in some way you need to focus on the right direction, meaning you're being very single-minded towards your goals, and that may cause other things to suffer. A relationship with a friend, not getting enough rest, and then also if you're in a relationship, that person may feel like you're not giving them the full attention, and these things can have the potential of leaving your life. So if you don't want that to happen, then make sure that you're making a more balanced approach towards all these people, because I feel like your attention needs to shift and have a proper perspective. So it says mountains and mice in front of you. Heavily industrial time. You need to work really hard through the next little while, through the next 6 months until December. I know it's not 6 months, it's like 4 months, but do that. Work hard, but then also nurture the people around you, and also nurture your relationship. And if you don't have a relationship, then you have nothing to worry about. And then nurture your sleep. Make sure you get enough sleep and rest. Okay, so let's see what signs are important for you, Virgo, for the next little while. So Cancer. Yeah, and like, speaking of signs that get emotional about things, Cancer, Virgo, and Pisces. You don't want to offend anyone right now, Virgo. So if I were to say like which signs are like the most, easily offendable in terms of relationships about not treating other people well, Cancer, Virgo, and Pisces. You don't want to step on their toes. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys have a nice week, and I'll be back for more. First steps to greatness, Virgo, you go for it. But all in moderation. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to make the energy real. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much. Bye.